Sorry, I'm off to a late start. Just had a few things come up. And we will get started today. We're going to focus on the foot today. Very important little structure, but it's complex because when you look at the bones of the feet, they're tiny, 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 tiny. And that means work has to be transferred to somewhere else as quickly as possible. So problems of the feet are not just problems of the feet. They're problems of your quads, your butt, and your core. And part of your core is that pelvic floor. So we're going to be looking at some of the functions of the feet and what we do with the feet and what goes wrong with the feet and how we can correct it. So we're going to look at the function of the feet and how they work and what we need to work on in order for them to function correctly. Because the feet are a tripod. We have the big toe, the outer four toes, and the corresponding metatarsal head and the heel. So we have these 3 points of contact. What's really unusual about the foot is that we have 4 arches in the feet. We have the anterior arch in the foot. That's the very front of the foot. We have the lateral arch, which seldom gets talked about. We have the medial arch that everybody talks about because after World War II, we knew what flat feet looked like, which is not always correct. And then we have what's called the spring arch. That's the foot in the posterior part of the foot. And so we have these 4 arches in the feet and 3 points of contact. This makes the foot enormously strong for as small as the bones are in the feet, but it means that it's a structure that works in supporting something else. It's not to be the part of the body that does all the work. So we're going to look at the toes and the feet, because what's supposed to happen is the feet are supposed to make contact with the ground. So the toes are the most important in this equation. Everyone thinks it's the heel. It's actually the toe. Actually the toes. And we're trying to get the toes to engage. So we're going to start here. We're going to put the feet parallel at hips width apart. So as always, here's your ASIS. Here's your pubic symphysis. Midway in between is hips width apart. So your feet are much more narrow than you think. Then we're going to push down with that big toe and the corresponding metatarsal head. The outer 4 toes and the corresponding metatarsal heads, especially that pinky toe, and finally your heel. 1/3 the weight goes through the ball of your foot, 1/3 goes through your toes, 1/3 the weight goes through your heels. And then this is where we start. We're going to bend the knees slightly, turn the knees out, make sure the knees and the toes are going in the same direction. We're going to really look at the functionality of this because our toes should be long against the ground, not curled up or gnarled up, not lifting up. And that's an artifact of wearing shoes, because when you wear shoes, what starts happening is you lean the weight into heels because you're getting more shock absorption under your heels. And then you start lifting your toes up to the inside of the shoe instead of letting your toes be long against the ground. So really make your toes as long as you possibly can. Fire up those quads because this is still athletic ready posture. Everything that's involved here involves that athletic ready posture. So we want springs on the lower half of the body. We want that torso really erect, and we want the head active for the riding reflex. And we're standing on the toes. And we're going to start out just by pushing down with the big toe and feeling what it feels like to cover the whole big toe against the ground. Not just your favorite part where you have calluses, but the whole big toe as it lines up forward. And now you're going to go to your second toe and push down. This is going to where it feels weird because we're not used to using the individual toes. But as we found out in the 1950s, everything the hands can do, the toes can do. Now your third toe is pushing into the ground. See what that feels like. Feel what fires up in your calf muscles and what's activating. Try to keep your core on. Fourth toe goes down. And finally, 5th toe. As we're doing this, we're going to work on the pelvic floor. That's first chakra. We're going to work on lower abs. That's second chakra. Third chakra is your upper abs. We're going to work all that as we draw your shoulder blades down and back. Abs are nice and tight. And we're going to do our micro squats. You're going to squat down and come back up. I know everything's starting out really easy. There's a lot of detail on this because I want you to understand how to make contact with your feet and how to feel the ground under your feet. And that's where foot problems come from, is we forget how to feel. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in that tummy. We're trying to create core stabilization with first, second, third chakras on. 9, and 10. Good. Now we're going to take the ball, put it underneath your left foot. Abs are nice and tight. Feet are parallel. I can't stress that enough. Toes are parallel. First, second, third chakras are on. Abs are nice and tight. Chest is up. Head's over the top of your pelvic floor as you now roll out the bottom of your foot. You're going to roll your heel, lateral aspect of your foot, ball of your foot, your toes. Those are the gravitational portion of your foot. And then you can go to non-gravitational, which is the arch of your foot and in between your toes. Your feet can go side to side as long as your feet stay parallel. You can even do circular motion like Maria would do if she was here. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking your tummy. Watch your balance. There should be no pain under the bottom of your foot. If you feel pain, it's because of something you're doing during the day, and it's not because of the ball as you would think. Okay, this is with your legs straight. We're now going to go into a deep knee bend. Abs are nice and tight. You're more in athletic ready posture. You are now moving that foot around from your hip versus from your knee. Move it from your hips. Abs are engaged. Sucking your tummy. Chest is up. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and heart to the horizon. Roll it out. Abs are nice and tight. Fast will get harder. Don't you worry. Okay, and good. We're going to switch sides. We're going to start out with straight legs. Abs are nice and tight. You're getting all the architecture of the foot. You're starting with your footprint. Your feet are parallel. You're going to get your heel, lateral aspect of your foot, ball of your foot, and your toes. Just roll everything out. Make sure you can feel everything. You can identify energy and work that are going through each part of your foot. And then get the non-gravitational part of your foot, the arch of your foot, and in between your toes. Remember to breathe. Abs are nice and tight. Keep those feet parallel. Very nice. We're going to bend the knee. The abs are nice and tight. You're sucking your tummy. Make sure everything lines up going forward. Keep breathing. Okay. We're going to switch feet again. This is the hardest part we're going to work on. We're going to take that ball back behind you. Your feet are going to be parallel. I know you're going to want to turn this left foot out, but you're going to keep it parallel. Abs are nice and tight. You're rolling out the bottom of your foot. Shoulder blades are down and back. You can bend this front knee as long as the knee goes forward along with your toes, and you're rolling out the bottom of your foot back behind you. Keep your abs engaged. Keep breathing. Remember, the pain in the bottom of your foot has nothing to do with this ball. It has to do with something you did during the week. Okay, abs are engaged. Ooh, that feels good. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Same thing on the opposite side. Front knee's bent, rear leg is straight. Your feet are parallel. Don't let that foot turn out. It's not this, it is this. Feel what you have to activate in your pelvis to make sure that this works correctly. Hold that balance. Sucking that tummy. Ooh, head is sore. So I'm doing something funky on this side. Make sure all the toes are engaged. Abs are engaged, pelvic floor is on. Okay, good. Now the ball comes back forward again. The ball will go under the ball of your foot because we're trying to recreate that anterior arch of your foot. Okay, feet are parallel. You're going to curl your toes around the ball like you're trying to grab the ball, and then you're going to lift your toes up. And as you do, spread your toes apart. Together, down, apart, up. Abs are engaged, shoulder blades are down and back, heads over top of your body. We're also working good posture as we correct what's going on in the feet. Together and apart. Together and apart. Make sure those toes curl around the ball like you're perching like a bird on a wire. Abs are engaged. So all this came up because I saw someone that had foot issues, and I saw how easy they were to correct in this person. So you guys are going to benefit from this. Okay, now you're going to reverse it. Your toes go apart as they go down, and then as they come up together, and apart as they go down, up together. Notice if you got to look at your toes in order to make this work, and try to do it by feel. Apart, down, together, up. Notice if you have to use your hand to assist, it's okay if it does initially, but eventually you don't want that. because you don't want people to know what your feet are doing. And that's especially important when we get to the pelvic floor. Oops. Open, close. Open, close. Open, close. Switch sides. We're going to try it on this side too. You're first going to just curl your toes around the ball. Notice if this foot's different than the other side, easier or harder, and then lift your toes up. And as they come up, they're coming apart. Spread your toes, then together. Spread, together. Notice which of the two patterns is easier, because you're probably overusing it if it's easy. So we have to be able to do both. Keep those feet parallel, abs on, pelvic floor on. Spread at the top, close at the bottom, and breathing. Spread at the top, close at the bottom. Spread at the top, close at the bottom. And now we're going to reverse it. You're going to spread at the bottom, close as your toes come up. Spread at the bottom, close as your toes come up. You don't necessarily have to use your hands, but you can initially because it helps. Spread at the bottom, close at the top. Spread at the bottom, close at the top. Both patterns should be equally easy. Abs are engaged. Spread at the bottom, close at the top. Notice if you're feeling knee pain instead, and you shouldn't feel that either, because that's just work transferring. You're trying to figure out a trick to get it out of your toes because your toes are not used to working this hard. Good. Go back to your left foot, balls underneath the ball of your foot. We're just going to step forward, hips go forward, step back, hips go back. Make sure the feet stay parallel, even in the front and the rear. So even if you can't see your foot, I don't want to see this happening. This stays parallel. Step forward, hips forward, step back, hips back. We're just opening up that plantar fascia. Keep breathing. So my computer has 4 terabytes of memory. I managed to blow through it somehow, and I had to get a hard drive last night. And so I got a 5 terabyte hard drive to download all these videos we're making. Abs. Okay, good. Now, place the ball just in front of the heel of your foot. This one, your leg is bent until you step over. Your leg goes straight, step forward, hips forward, step back, and then your legs bend again. Feet stay parallel on this one, especially important. This is what happens when you wear high heels. You'll see women turn their feet out when they walk. I hate seeing that. That's terrible because it's teaching women how to have bunions. We don't want bunions. Bunions are bad. And it has to do more with foot alignment than it does with anatomy of the foot. Step up, abs, hips forward, and then step back, step down. Okay, good. Switch sides. Ball goes under the anterior arch of your foot. You're gonna step forward, hips forward, step back, hips back, keep those feet parallel. So what happens over time is your foot starts turning out. When it turns out, you roll over a side of the foot and you start enacting bunions in your feet. And then your feet will stay out and you'll notice you toe out. We're gonna work on keeping those feet parallel, hips forward, hips back to prevent that. Suck in that tummy, shoulder blades are down and back. Hands are relaxed, smiles are up. Keep breathing. Feet parallel. Okay. This is the anterior arch. We're going to take the ball right before the heel of your foot to go into what's called the spring arch, or step forward, hips forward, step back, hips back. Step up, abs nice and tight, and then your knees are going to bend. And then you're going to step up. And that's why if you do have a heel, it makes you step up instead of step down like Whoopi Goldberg walking around in Ghost in high heels. Keep those feet parallel. I even goofed there. See what it feels like to step up. Feel where you have to feel this. You're going to feel this in your butt. You're going to feel this in your abs. This should not hurt your foot at all. Okay, this next one might hurt your foot a little bit as we put the ball in the center of your arch of your foot. Your feet are gonna remain parallel. Your heel is off the ground. The ball of your foot is off the ground. Your toes are off the ground. You're just gonna step forward, step back, hips back. You can move it around to find more painful spots than the one you're experiencing. Keep your toes off the ground. Keep your heel off the ground. Transfer that excruciating pain that you're feeling in the bottom of your foot to somewhere else like your quad or your butt, but don't bring it up to your shoulders. That's too high. Keep it down low in your abs. Okay, we'll just do one more of these. It's pretty intense, huh? Switch sides. Everybody loves this because it unloads knee pain and low back pain. We're gonna step forward. Keep those feet parallel. This is fun. Find sore spots. Keep your abs engaged. Notice if one side is sore than the other. It shouldn't be. It should be nice and symmetrical. Move the ball around. One more. Whoo, and you're gonna stand on the ground, see what the ground feels like. It should feel amazing under your feet right now. Your knees should feel large. And that's because energetically, we're transferring a lot of information to your feet, to your hips. So of course your knees feel large, not swollen, but large. Okay, now, here's where all the fun begins. We got to create the connection between your feet and your hips. So you're gonna put your foot on the block, only your big toe will not be on the block. Okay, we're gonna start with that. Abs are nice and tight, your big toe's hanging off, all the rest of the toes are on the block. If you got a really long foot, your heel can come off the block, that's fine. But it's mainly that big toe's off the block. We're gonna start out by just squatting. Not a big deal. Make sure those feet go forward, your feet are parallel, your abs are engaged. First, second, third chakras are on. First chakra is your pelvic floor, second chakra is your lower abs, third chakra is your upper abs. Just see what it feels like to do this. Not a big deal. Okay? Now you're going to take your foot over to the left as your pinky toe only drops off the edge of the block. You're sucking in your tummy. See what that feels like. We're going to squat. This is what life without the pinky toe. It should be curling around the block. It should not be lifting up. And this is not the time to drink tea. Suck in your tummy. You should feel your quads and your butt kicking on. And good. Now, we're gonna switch sides. So your big toe's hanging off the end of the block, edge of the block. Abs are nice and tight. Feet are parallel up, quads are on, knees are over the tops of your feet. You're squatting out. You should feel your quads and your butt. You shouldn't feel any disaster down in the feet. Get lined up better. There we go. This means your outer four toes have to work a little harder. And this will cause you to work your butt. Okay, good. Take your pinky toe off the edge of the block. And we're gonna squat. Abs are nice and tight. So for the next few weeks, we're gonna do a series on the feet, as you can figure out by what we're doing today. 9, 10, good. All right, now let the games begin. You're gonna put your left foot on the block, your toes hanging off the edge. You're using those outer four toes. You're gonna take your right leg back behind you, straight and parallel. Front knee's gonna bend, knee's gonna be over the top of the foot. Abs are nice and tight. You can hold on to your roller for this because the balance is gonna be off. You're sucking your tummy. We're gonna work the butt. Remember what I said, the outer four toes activate the butt. So really push on those outer four toes. You'll feel your butt activate and wanna push back, and that's a good thing. Abs are nice and tight. We're gonna start out with sit-ups. You're sucking in your tummy and releasing. Suck it in, release, suck it in, release. Keep going. You're trying to change the shape of your abdomen. Trying to get our toes anchored in the earth, and we're trying to work the major muscle groups, quads and the butt. And then here we go. We're gonna hinge forward as far as you can. Straight spine, no pressure in your back. We're working muscles and nut joints. So you shouldn't feel any pressure in your low back because low back's a bunch of joints. We want you to be working your core. Keep breathing. 9 and 10. Good. Now you're going to take your pinky toe off the edge of the block. You're using primarily your big toe, but you're using those other 3 toes. Abs are nice and tight. This will make you activate more your inner thigh and your abs, and we're going to hinge forward. So you see that each one of the toes in the foot has a signaling to another part of your body. This is why we want to practice this. You should feel this in your quad and butt still. Nine and 10. Okay. We're going to take your heel off the end of the block. So you're now using primarily the ball of your foot or your forefoot. Abs are nice and tight. This is where we really have to watch alignment. Knees over top of your foot, abs are engaged, sucking that tummy. And here we go. We're hinging forward. Chest up. You should feel working your butt and your quad, nowhere else. You shouldn't feel your calf wanting to light on fire. We want you to use your butt and quad. Abs are nice and tight. Very nice, everyone. Okay, I'm going to angle off slightly so you can see this. Your legs back behind you. Where can I put this? Right there. Abs are nice and tight. Rear leg is straight. So we're going to work on inertia and plyometric load. Abs are nice and tight. Your heel is not on the block. Once again, abs are nice and tight. You're going to bend and straighten that rear leg. Keep your abs engaged. You should feel your abs really kick on to do this. You should feel your quad and your butt. Very nice. I'm going to go back straight again. You got to help me remember everything we did. Okay, from this position, your heel's still off the ground. Abs are nice and tight. We're going to bring our knee to our chest and back down. We're working with inertia, so there's no bounding or bouncing. There should be no pressure. We're not jumping, but you're bringing your knee to your chest. Your abs are engaged. You should feel this in your butt and your quads. That's how I can always tell when someone doesn't run correctly. 9, 10. Good job. Let's switch sides. Oh boy, what did we do? Okay, your foot goes back behind you. Your heel is off the end of the block. Abs are nice and tight. Quads are on. Watch that alignment. Knee over top of foot. You're sucking your tummy. Did we do sit-ups here? I don't think so. We just went forward. Thank you, Gil. We're going to go forward and then come back up. I want you to use your butt. I want you to use your quads. Sucking that tummy. Notice the tendency to cheat. Notice if you want to go to the lateral aspects of your feet, stay centered over your feet. Nine, 10. What do we do next? Do we bring the heel up? Yes, thank you. See, I told you I'd forget. Abs are nice and tight. So you're trying to keep your center. You're not changing everything. Knee stays over top of foot, that leg's behind you. You're just going to bend and straighten. All the work stays in your butt and your quads. Your foot always goes back to the same spot. Your head essentially doesn't move. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Then I'm going to focus forward again. So there used to be a runner that I knew. He said he'd get terrible headaches running. But when I watched the video of him running, his head was going up and down like a piston, and it was going side to side. And I'm like, of course you have headaches. We gotta hold your head still when you move. And he would run for miles, throttling himself, okay? We're here, abs are nice and tight, chest is up, shoulder blades are down, back. Your quads are on, your butt's on, abs stabilizing. You're gonna bring that leg through and back. Your head doesn't move for the most part. It doesn't go backwards or forward. Six, 7, yay, the gardener's here. 8, 9, 10. It's not our gardener, it's the next door neighbor's gardener. We don't have a yard yet, so we don't need a gardener. Okay? We're gonna do one more thing. And most people think they don't need to practice this because they know how to stand on their heels. We're gonna do work from our heels. You're gonna drop the ball of your foot off the end of the block. You're primarily on your heel. So your toes are curling over and the ball of your foot's off the end of the block. We're gonna sit back. If you do this correctly, it'll should drive work into your butt. So push your hips back, abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy, bend that front knee. The temptation will be wanting to straighten the leg. We're gonna keep the leg bent. Abs are nice and tight, chest up. And we're gonna work that booty. We're not supposed to use our heel for work. We can use it for rest and stretch. Humans are one of the only people that use the heel. 8, 9, 10. And it's adaptive. It's not what we're supposed to do. Because if you look at dogs, they don't even put their heel on the ground. Their heel's up in the air and they're on their front forefoot or their paw. And that's what we should be doing. Okay, ball of your foot's off the ground, rear leg is straight, front knee is bent, hips are back, abs are nice and tight. We're gonna hinge forward and try this. Suck in that tummy. It's your butt that should be working, not your feet. Suck in that tummy. Nine. 10, good. We work the toes a little bit more as you put the block on top of the ball. Shoulder blades are down and back. Slightly bend your knees. All you're gonna do is lower your heel down, lift your heel up. Lower, lift, lower, lift. Make sure that knee goes straight forward in the same direction your toes are going. So I don't wanna see the toes out and the knee going forward. Everything's going forward. 8, 9, 10. And then now we're gonna flip it over. We're on the tops of our toes. This should be easy. If this is painful, you gotta practice this. Abs are nice and tight. Obviously the majority weight is over your right leg. You're gonna squat. This is so you don't break your toes kicking the coffee table, like I did twice this week already. 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. Oh, I have to tell you what happened to me yesterday. So I went into Diamond Head area to go see a client and I brought Wolfie. So I let her out in the park to go to the bathroom before we got to my client's place. And oh my God, 1,000 chickens converged on Wolfie. I don't know if they thought I brought him a sacrifice or something. And so I started chasing off the chickens. And so I was helping Wolfie and I was playing with her on the grass. And there was this one chicken I kind of threw something at so it wouldn't bother Wolfie. Next thing I know, that chicken's above my head up in the tree. How I didn't know chickens could fly. And this thing poops on my shoulder. I'm like, you are kidding me. I'm trying to wipe it off. And I move to the side and its partner poops on me. Couldn't win that day. Okay, we're gonna lower it down. Abs are nice and tight. I don't know why everyone says it's good luck. You know why they say it's good luck to get pooped on? It's because they didn't get pooped on. That's why it's good luck. Abs are nice and tight. You're gonna lift, lower your heel. So I had people all yesterday saying, oh, you have good luck. Abs are nice and tight. Just lift lower. Try not to move your head. 6, 7, 8. Use primarily the first metatarsal head. 10. That's why it's the biggest joint. Curl your toes over. Majority weight is in your left leg. We're gonna squat away. Abs. Abs protect your feet. 9, 10. Hooray! We have done it. So we're gonna go into high heel. We're gonna do some running work without running. It's more inertial work and plyometric work. We're gonna be on the block. You're gonna have a high heel. You can keep your hand on your block if you don't feel like your balance is that good. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. We're gonna put the majority weight on the forefoot. Heel is up. Work is into your butt and your quad, your knees over top of your foot. You're gonna bring your knee to your chest and back down. 3. Your head doesn't move. 4, 5. This is how you sprint. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. We're switching sides. Okay, legs back behind you. High heel first, butt sticks out, quad toes on, front knee is bent, knees over the top of your foot. And here we go. 1. Bring your knee to your chest. 2, 3. Your head doesn't move. 4. High heel. 5. Abs. 6, 7. Woo! Too much thrust. 8, 9, 10. Good job. Okay, so we're going to do the disastrous move. So when you're out running, and especially on uneven surfaces, it's a disastrous when your heel drops down. So we're going to drop the heel below the level of the block. It's not touching the ground though. So you're not getting any feedback. Abs are nice and tight. Same thing again, knee to chest. You're going to see how much harder it is to do this and why it could be potentially dangerous if you didn't practice it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. Heel drops below the level of the block, but not touching the ground. Knee is over top of your foot. Feet are parallel. Same thing, abs tight. Don't move your head. It'll move a tiny bit, but don't move it a lot. That's a riding reflex. 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Okay. We're going to bring our knee down onto block. That's your left knee, right foot goes forward. Abs are nice and tight. We're going to do a little stretching as soon as we activate the riding reflex. Head is over the top of the block and it stays there. Okay. Abs are engaged, hip circles. And remember, hip circles are round. To see what everything feels like. So we have to be able to chase something and keep our head fixated on our target because we don't want to be chasing something like this. We'll never catch it. Opposite direction. Know what your toes are doing. Your feet should be parallel, even though your legs are not in the same plane. Okay. Suck in that tummy. Okay, stretch forward. Ah, yes. So opening up the hip flexors. Chest is up, suck in your tummy. Now I'm going to angle off. We're going to go after the rectus femoris as usual. We're going to reach back, grab a hold of that ankle. And we're going to push our hips forward. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. Shoulder blades are down and back. You should look like the FTD florist holding a bouquet. Did you guys have that? Or did you have something else here on the island? Like a little menahuni with a bouquet. Suck in your tummy. Chest up. Make sure the work's not going into your low back. If you feel pressure in your low back, it means your abs have shut off. Pull that heel in even more. Suck in that tummy even more, chest up even more, and you can go ahead and release that leg. We're going to do a stretch forward. This leg goes forward. Your left arm goes forward. Your right arm goes back. Suck in that tummy. No pressure in your joints. We're stretching muscles, not joints, so you shouldn't feel any pressure into your knee, ankle, low back, and even the hip joint. You should feel it in the muscles because that's what we're stretching. Okay, switch sides. Abs are nice and tight. We're working the riding reflex, our head over the top of the block, hip circle it. Try not to move your head. Notice if one side's easier than the other. Notice if you're more seductive on one side of your body than the other. We got to balance it out or it looks weird. Smiles are up. Core is on. Opposite direction. Keep that core on. Head over top of the block. And one. Then we're going to stretch forward, stretch, stretch, stretch. Chest is up, abs are nice and tight. Keep that core on, keep everything engaged. Feel what it feels like to stretch. Feel what it feels like to have your feet parallel. And then here we go. We're going to bend that rear leg. You're going to grab a hold of your ankle. We're going to open up the rectus femoris muscle. Chest is up, shoulder blades are down and back, smiles are up. Keep breathing. Stretch. It's a very important muscle to open up. And we're going to release. I'm going to come back to center so you can see. You're going to take your leg out in front of you, straight leg. Knee and foot are going in the same direction. Don't turn your foot out. And then you're going to stretch forward. Left hand reach back. Abs are nice and tight. We're working muscles in that joint. Chest up. No putting pressure in your low back. Yes, there you go. Abs are engaged. You should feel the stretch in your calf, your hamstring, and your booty. Keep breathing. Smiles are up. And we're switching sides. Hey. Your right knee is down. Or, yeah, no, left knee is down. Left knee is down. Your right knee is forward. Okay. Hands go and stick them up. We're going to work balance. Your rear toes, your left toes are no longer touching the ground. You're going to point them and they're off the ground. This way you have to go into balance without compensation into your toes. And this is why the toes often get deformed because they take over roles that should be happening with the core. Suck in your tummy. You're going to lift, hold, gently turn your foot to the ground. Lift, hold, gently touch. Lift, hold, gently. Lift, hold, gently touch. Hold that balance. Try to keep your core on. Abs are nice and tight. Suck in that tummy. Chest up, core on. Try to obey the riding reflex. 8, 9, 10. Okay, now that you've had fun, you're going to hold that leg up in the air and you're going to try to do hip circles. Hip circles, 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 and opposite direction hip circle. Don't push me. 9 and 10. Okay, switch sides. Enough humiliation. I hear Wolfie snoring, but I don't see her. Hands are in, stick them up. Right toe is pointed and off the ground. Abs are nice and tight. You're gonna lift, hold, gently lower. Just keep doing that. Hold the balance, head over top of the foot. Oh. Make sure the work's happening down here and not up in here. So we don't want the neck working. 8, 9, 10. Okay. We're going to take this left leg off the ground, hold it in the air, and we're going to do hip circles. Ooh. Yeah. This will help you if you ever step on the ice, which happens all the time in this island, especially with the heat and humidity we're having. Opposite direction. Actually, where it can happen is at Whole Foods at 9 o'clock at night when they pour the ice out in the front of the store. 9 and 10. Good. We're going to switch sides again. We're going to continue going over the muscles that support the feet. We're going to go into our thinker posture. Okay, your toes are curled under on this one. Make sure there's not so much pressure that's only going into your metatarsal head or the knuckles of your toes. If you feel that, push your heel back. That'll put the stretch in your plantar fascia and your Achilles tendon into your calf muscle instead. Abs are nice and tight. We're going to jump. So that means your left arm is going to follow your right leg. And this is not a jump. This is just going through the motions. It's slow motion. In fact, we're jumping forward, And then we're going back. Keep your chest up. This is athletic ready posture working. Legs are bent, torso's long, head's activated in the riding reflex. Soft landing. 6. Abs are nice and tight. 7. You're using muscles, not joints. 8. You shouldn't feel your knees. 9. 10. Okay, watch this. We're switching sides. Thinker pose. Oh, Rodin would be so proud. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking your tummy. Shoulder blades are down and back. Here we go. We're going. Your right hand's going to follow your left leg as you jump. You're driving with your quad and your butt. No work is in your knee. In fact, the knee is not involved. Your toes aren't involved because your toes of your right foot are off the ground. This is core balance. Abs. 9. 10. Switch sides. By now, you should feel like your knees are going to explode. They're not going to. What you're doing is you're activating your quads, and your quads are referring to your knee. There's nothing wrong with your knees. You're finding out the weakness of your quads. Okay? So this time your toes are curled under, abs are nice and tight. Hands are in stick 'em up. Everyone's going to make 1 inch. Not a man 1 inch, but a real 1 inch. Okay? Only 1 inch. You're going to lift up off that block 1 inch and then go back down. Watch the knee over the top of your foot. Abs are engaged. 2. 3. This is small angles. 4. Everyone hates working this. 5. 6. Abs, quads, butt. 9. Oh, wait, 8. 9. 10. Switch sides. Ooh, that should give you quite a burn in muscles, not joints. We want to get out of the bad habit of working joints and get into the habit of working muscles. Muscles recover in like 3 hours. Joints recover in like 6 to 8 weeks. That's why we don't like hurting joints. Abs are nice and tight, hands and stick them up. Here we go, breathe, smiles, 1 inch and back down. 2, suck that tummy in. 3, 4, chest up. 5, no pressure in your low back. 6, no pressure in your knees. 7, in your quads and your butt. 8, 9, come on, Gillen. 10. Okay, we're coming in the knee lane. You guys have done awesome. This is all for your feet, believe it or not. We're gonna do our basic stretch here. We're just gonna lean back and do some sit-ups, suck in your tummy and release. Suck in your tummy, release. Keep going. Nine, 10. Okay, now you're going to curl your toes under. Your toes will go under. Once again, it's important if you feel pressure in your metatarsal heads to push your heels back. We're going to lean back once again. You don't want to feel pressure in your toes. You want to feel it in your quads and your calves. We're going to do sit-ups here. Suck in that tummy and release. Suck it in, release. No pressure in your low back. You feel pressure in your low back, it means your abs are not working. 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Woo. Okay, we shall do a little bit of pelvic floor work. Let me think. So pelvic floor works in conjunction with your feet. So when the pelvic floor gets weak, your feet are weak. And when your feet get weak, your pelvic floor has to be weak. That's why runners and CrossFitters will often, because they're taking their bodies to exhaustion, start cheating through their feet. And what they don't realize is they're turning up their pelvic floor. And that's why so many, especially females, but not to say it's limited to females, start getting urinary incontinence as they get more fit. And that's very, very confusing. Right, Wolfie? Yep. Okay. Have a seat on top of your ball. Ball's midway between your pubic bone and your tailbone. Because we're gonna work those pelvic floor muscles. Okay, shoulder blades are down, back, abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. We're gonna squeeze our abs. We're gonna activate our pelvic floor by squeezing that ball as tightly as we can, trying to reshape it. Shoulder blades are down, back, head is over the top of the ball. And now, as your feet are back behind you, I want you to, as the same time you contract your pelvic floor, kind of create the arches in your feet. So your pelvic floor and your feet work together. Notice if your feet start cramping. If they do, that's how much connection you have lost. Smiles are up. You're breathing. Smiles are up. Creating shape. Strengthening pelvic floor. Okay. Continuing on what we did before, take your right foot forward, abs are nice and tight, chest is up. Athletic ready posture, your legs are bent, torso's long, your riding reflex is on. You're gonna take your left arm forward, you're gonna take it across midline, across your knee. You're sucking in your tummy. Keep your head over the top of the ball. Don't let your head migrate forward, don't round your spine. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love this. Okay, staying in this position. You're gonna take mainly your left arm back as you raise up your right leg. Make sure you feel this in your abs and not your hip flexor. If you feel it in your hip flexor, you're overusing your foot. Abs are nice and tight, sucking that tummy. 9 and 10, switch sides. Keep your pelvic floor on. That's the whole reason we're sitting on top of this ball, is to activate pelvic floor. Chest is up, shoulder blades are down and back. Abs are nice and tight. As you take your right arm forward, left arm back, you're gonna twist across midline, keeping your head over top of the ball, sucking in your tummy. This is activation of first, second, third chakra. Don't lose track of that ball because we don't want it to end up in your mouth. 8, suck it in, 9, 10. Okay. We're gonna do a little bit of leg lift. This is primarily about your left arm. Take your left leg up off the ground. Use your abs, not your hip flexors. Suck in your tummy. 9, 10. So this gives you a good idea. If you want this leg to move farther forward, you gotta take your same side arm further back behind you to create that contralateral patterning. Both legs go forward. We're gonna do a little jumping here. And by jumping, I mean the fun kind of jumping. Make sure that ball's in between your pubic bone and your tailbone, not on your tailbone. Hands are in, stick them up, chest is up. Suck into your tummy, close up your rib cage, chest is up. This is athletic ready posture as we bounce. Suck in your tummy, this is strengthening your pelvic floor and the connection to your pelvic floor. Suck in that tummy. As we make it one step harder, take your arms straight over the top of your head. You're like blocking a volleyball coming over the net. Suck in your tummy. Oh, I saw something hysterical the other day. They put, it was a volleyball game, and they put up a black curtain across the net, so you couldn't see what the other side team was doing. So it started out real funny because they tried to play volleyball and they couldn't see where the ball was coming from, and the reaction speed went up. It was really neat. And then, because they couldn't see what was happening on the other side, nor could they see them, that's when the cheating started. They started grabbing the ball, running to a different position and hitting. Sucking your tummy. Okay, arms come down to your sides. We're gonna do a little jog. Right knee, left hand. Left knee, right hand, just go back and forth. Keep your chest up, abs nice and tight. Use your hip flex. Don't use your hip flexors, use your abs. Keep your chest up. Chest up. Abs on. Feet parallel. 9, 10. Good. Hands on your knees. We're going to do a forward fold. Just lengthen your calves, your hamstring. But try to keep your back shortened so you can keep your abs on and your spine straight. We're gonna hang out here for a while. So lift up those arches of feet, turn your knees out, keep that pelvic floor on, suck in your tummy. Very important, suck in that tummy, because this is ab activation. And now you're gonna use your abs to pull you closer to the ground. You're not using gravity, you're using muscles to pull you closer to the ground, so you're in control of that. Okay. Good. Bend your knees, put your hands on your knees. We're doing recovery position. Okay. Bend your knees, stick out your butt, straight spine. We're going to do sit-ups here. You're going to tighten your pelvic floor, close up your rib cage, suck in second chakra or your lower abs. Keep sucking it in, release, suck it in, release. Feel your pelvic floor tightening simultaneously. This is doing a Kegel exercise. I think the one downfall of Kegel exercises is it doesn't work on the release because you have to release in order to tighten properly. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to come to the ground. We are not going to stand up because that's too much blood pressure change. We're going to do a tiny little sit-ups and then, goodness gracious, we'll be done. Okay, you're going to take this ball. You're going to put it behind the small of your back. Hands go back behind your chest goes up. Show it more. See, the ball's behind the small of your back. Okay? Okay. Now we're going to do our sit-ups. Keep your hands on the ground. You're going to keep that pelvic floor on. You're going to suck in that tummy and release. Tighten your abs, tighten your pelvic floor, close up your rib cage. Do it repeatedly. It's just to get you the feeling of tightening your abs. Suck it in, suck it in. So it's important to get visual, physical, mental stimulation as much as you can. And it was amazing because I took Wolfie wherever I had to go for last week, but especially yesterday. And she got so much physical stimulation, visual stimulation, smell stimulation, environmental stimulation. She came home exhausted, even though I carried her most of the time. But that's how important it is to get outside, look around and look up, do different things and experience because it stimulates our brain. Okay, grab a hold of your knees. We're going to continue to do the same thing, suck in that tummy. Keep your chest up, keep the neck nice and long. Okay, now we're going to work Mario's favorite thing. We're going to do Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. That means your arms don't bend. You're turning your torso. And you're punching with your abs versus thrusting your arm. So it's abs, 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 abs. Now you can make it more ballistic, like you're actually punching someone. And you can punch someone taller than you, because it's kind of embarrassing if you fight someone shorter than you are. That means you're a bully. But if you fight someone taller than you, you will be remembered in all of history, like David and Goliath. Yeah, I can't think of any other ones. Suck in your tummy. Oh, Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston. 9 and 10. So we're staying here. We're going to go for a little run. You're going to push your butt up off the ground. Your abs are nice and tight. Arms are off the ground. Your butt's off the ground. You're just going to go for a walk. Opposite hand to opposite foot. Balance. This is where you use core coordination to maintain balance and integrity of extremity motion. 8, 9, and 10. Woo, I fell off balance. Arch over the top of the ball. We're gonna rock from side to side. Just see what everything feels like. You guys have done an amazing job. If you feel pressure in your low back, it means you used your low back. If you feel lengthening your abs, that's great. If you feel pressure in the front of your hips, it means you use your hip flexors. Next time, try to get it in your abs. I know it's harder than you think. Side to side, open everything up. Keep breathing. Let me just switch out the music. Wow, where is it? There it is. Okay. Okay, so now you're going to come off of that ball and you're going to come onto your roller. You're going to be on the very tip of your roller. Okay, you're going to take your feet out in front of you. You're just going to lay on your roller lengthwise. I was going to stretch the quads, but not today. We'll catch it next time. Feet are parallel, knees are over the tops of your feet. Your shoulder blades are down and back. Abs are nice and tight. Make sure those feet are parallel because we're in athletic ready posture. Feet are parallel, knees are over the tops of your feet. All your toes are engaged with the ground. First chakra, your pelvic floor is on. Third chakra is closing up. Second chakra gets the roller or your spine against the roller. As you draw your shoulder blades down and back, head is over the top of your body. We're going to do a little bit of stretching as you take your arms over the top of your head. And just feel what it feels like to breathe, to keep your spine against the roller. You shouldn't feel like your shoulders are tearing apart because your abs are protecting your shoulders. If you feel like your shoulders are going to disarticulate, draw your lats on and then tighten your abs. Take your arms out the side like you're hugging someone very large. And then finally, bring your arms to your sides. Chest is up, shoulder blades are down and back. You're breathing. You guys stay on the roller. I'm going to come off to bring you home. So, everything we worked on was for athletic ready posture. But athletic ready posture is just life ready posture. It gets you ready for deal with loads, deal with energies, move, connect, balance. And that's why, as you're in this athletic ready posture on this roller, you can find your center and you can easily find meditation. Because in athletic ready posture, if you stand correctly, if you sit correctly, if you move correctly, you should feel very, very close to meditation. And that's the goal of life, to be in meditation with loved ones, with any situation that confronts you, with work, with all of your environment. Just be very connected and rooted to Source. So for these last few seconds, just breathe. You guys have done an amazing job. And on behalf of me and Maria, who's still on the East Coast now on the East Coast with Kai, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for showing up and sharing and trying these crazy things we have you do. We appreciate you very much, and namaste.